She didn't stay away because she wanted to. She stayed away because she was ashamed, and she thought it was too late to come back. Kendra, 27, didn't know what she was meant to do, but she knew this wasn't it. She stared through the office window at the brick wall that someone had painted a Pepto Bismol pink. She retreated into her imagination, where she dreamed of a life far from here, where she flew on private jets and partied with royalty. Kendra, where's the Wilson contract? Her sister Shayla stood at the edge of her desk with arms crossed, looking annoyed as usual. Kendra smacked her lips, then pushed the file into Shayla's hands, then turned to face her computer. Even though they were close in age, she and Shayla were nothing alike. Shayla was like her father and mother, who were fine with the mundane. Her father was so proud when they both started working for the family business that his great grandfather had started. Shayla was all in, a dedicated do gooder, while Kendra only took the job because she needed the money. She couldn't care less about carrying on the family legacy. She had dreams of her own. Her parents were good people, but were like caged birds who never understood her ambition. Staying here, working for the family business, was boring and felt like a slow death. Kendra glanced over her shoulder. After confirming that no one was around, she opened the email and read it for the fifth time. Sean Ryan, a successful businessman, was offering a rare opportunity for a few select people to invest in his company. The returns were out of this world, and he was also showing the investors his business model so they could branch out and use it in different markets. From the Google search and Instagram, Sean appeared to be legit. And according to the email, this was a one time offer that was closing today. Kendra's heart fluttered. This was a chance of a lifetime that she couldn't afford to miss. It was her ticket out of this place, but she had one problem. She didn't have the initial investment needed for the buy in. Her mind searched for ways to come up with the money. When the idea came to her, she should have felt bad for thinking such a thing, but she figured there would be no harm if it was temporary. After a few minutes of contemplation, Kendra steadied her breath and replied to the email. She was in. This cage bird was about to fly. What can I get for this? Kendra asked Mr. Ralph, the shop owner, as she placed the delicate emerald necklace and matching emerald earrings on the counter. Mr. Ralph pulled out his loupe and picked up the necklace with care. These are rare pieces, he said while examining the jewelry. Her eyes moved around the store, landing on high-end purses, jewelry, and unique guns in locked glass cases. She looked over her shoulder, ready to get this transaction done so she could hit the road. She planned to be long gone by the time her parents found the note on her desk. It was the only way to break the news to them, because they would never understand. Besides, she couldn't risk them asking too many questions about what she was doing and how she got the money for it. According to Sean, she would have a return on her initial investment within 3 months. She figured it would be enough time to fly back home, pay off the pawn ticket, and slip the jewelry back into her grandmother's safe before she ever realized that it was gone. Kendra told herself that this wasn't stealing, since it was technically hers. Grandma Kitty always said she would pass it down to Kendra on her wedding day. In her mind, she was just borrowing against a future asset. It was as if she had stepped into a new world. Kendra saw nothing but dollar signs from the time she arrived, starting with a tour of Sean's mansion. He gave her and a few other men a tour of his massive estate, where sports cars lined the driveway and where guests washed their hands in gold plated sinks in the bathrooms. The tour of the office was just as impressive. His company took up 2 stories in a downtown high rise. Even the lobby air freshener smelled of success. The next few months were a whirlwind. At first, Sean was very hands on, taking Kendra around and introducing her to people. There was also a lot of partying with A-list celebrities and big-time business people. Kendra thought she was living a dream. As promised, she received her first payout by the third month, with a guarantee of more to come. However, returning home and paying off the pawn ticket was far from Kendra's mind because she was busy keeping up appearances of the lifestyle that she was desperately trying to achieve. But things changed quickly, with signs of looming trouble. First, Kendra noticed a shift in Sean's behavior after she received her first payout. Approximately a week after receiving the money, Sean called her about another opportunity with a quick return. Like a good investor, she reinvested a portion of that payout, expecting to hear from him in 30 days as he promised. When that period expired, Sean became hard to reach. At first, Kendra understood he was a businessman, so she didn't pressure him. But month after month, he gave excuses and empty promises until he stopped returning phone calls. With the little money she had left, long gone, she survived on credit card advances for as long as she could. One time, when she saw him in a nightclub, of all places, Sean promised to wire her the funds on the coming Monday, which was the last time she spoke to him. Rumors swelled about other investors not receiving any returns either until the truth came out on the local news. Oh no! Kendra placed her trembling hands to her mouth as she watched in dismay as the news crew broke the story about Sean Ryan being busted by the feds. They showed the foreclosure sign in front of Sean's mansion and the office building completely cleaned out. They caught up with Sean coming out of court with his hand up trying to block the camera from recording him. It was a scam, a pyramid scheme that collapsed with investors like Kendra losing thousands of dollars. What have I done? Kendra asked herself while looking at the eviction notice sitting on the table in front of her. Her plans of grandeur turned into a nightmare that had blown up in her face. How did you get this number? Kendra asked when hearing her sister's voice on the phone. 2.5 years had passed since she had left home and spoken to her family. After Sean was busted, life had gone downhill fast. Kendra had lost her apartment and sold almost all of her possessions. She took a waitressing job but was barely surviving. Life had really beaten her up. Kendra stepped away from the dining area into the hallway in front of the bathrooms. Does it matter? I would not be searching for you all over Kingdom Come if it weren't important. Well, what is it? I don't have much time. I have a plane to catch. Kendra's heart palpitated, waiting to hear why her sister was calling, knowing it couldn't be good. It's Grandma. She's in the hospital, and the doctor says it doesn't look good. She's been asking about you. You need to come home before it's too late. Kendra placed her hand on her chest. Hearing that her grandma was dying knocked the wind out of her, knowing that she couldn't go gutted her. I can't. I'm on my way to Bali. Maybe when I get back. You haven't changed. I see you are the same selfish person that you have always been. She did everything for you, and I know you stole her jewelry. I don't know what you're talking about. Tell grandmother I love her, and I will come see her as soon as I get back. Kendra ended the call before Shayla could say anything else. She wiped her tears and then walked to see if her order was ready. Kendra drove through the park from end to end. It looked safe enough, so she parked and started her nightly routine, which came with a little anxiety. After she lost her apartment, she stayed with a friend for a little while, but found herself homeless when her friend moved out of state. Thank goodness she still had her car, which she had been sleeping in ever since. Quietly, she ate the leftover food from the diner, then took a swallow of water from the gallon-sized jug she kept on the floor of the back seat. After she dumped her trash in the outside can and brushed her teeth, Kendra secured blankets in each window to give herself a sense of privacy and security. It also kept the warmth in the car longer, which helped on chilly nights like this. After stashing her tips inside of a rip in the front passenger seat, Kendra reclined her seat and covered up in a few blankets. Most of her thoughts were of her family and about life back at home. Even though she hated thinking about her mistakes, especially stealing from her grandmother, her mind revisited those events often. She had been rotten, not just when she left the way she did, but long before. She had been selfish and mean to her family, who had only loved and cared for her. The worst was not seeing her grandmother before she passed away. She pretended she couldn't come because she was busy jet setting across the world, when in reality, Bali didn't keep her from going to see her grandmother in the hospital. Shame did. Create in me a clean heart and renew the right spirit within me. Kendra recited the scripture that she often heard her grandmother say, then placed her hands over her face and cried because she felt unworthy. Life had humbled her hard, and now, as if she had been given fresh eyes, she could see the mistakes of her past. But being sorry didn't make it okay. Everything bad that happened to her, she deserved, including being homeless. So many times she wanted to call home, but was too ashamed to face her family. What would she even say? Too much damage had already been done. The tap on the window caused Kendra to jump. She quickly wiped her eyes and peeked outside. The light of a flashlight assaulted her sleepy eyes, but she rolled the window down when she saw it was a police officer. Ma'am, the park is closed. You can't stay here. Oh, I didn't know. Can I just stay for the night? I promise I won't be any trouble and I'll leave first thing in the morning. No, unfortunately, you can't do that. You know it's not safe out here. Do you have any family who will take you in? Where are your parents? Kendra thought of home, her room that her parents kept the same even after she moved out when she was 20. How she missed them so much. Trust me, I would go home if I could, but I'm sure they hate me. The officer looked around the park and then brought his attention back to Kendra. You know that prison visiting rooms all over the country are filled with mothers and fathers of some of the most rotten criminals. I've been doing this for a long time, and can guarantee that if your parents knew you were out here sleeping in the park, which is not safe, they would receive you with open arms. Go home, tell them you are sorry, and don't do whatever you did again. Kendra couldn't stop the tears even if she wanted to. They fell like a waterfall from her eyes. For so long, she had wanted to go home, but struggled to forgive herself. She also believed that she didn't deserve for her family to forgive her either. But maybe he was right. Maybe she should try. If nothing else, her parents needed to know that she was sorry. Kendra agreed and thanked the officer who waited in his unit until she got herself together and left the park. When she got on the freeway, just thinking about going home made her heart swell. It felt like Kendra was in a tunnel when she walked up to the front door of the house she grew up in, where everything around her was muted and she could only hear her thoughts. Here goes nothing. Kendra knocked on the door. The bitter taste of sorrow stuck to her tongue, creating a film that could not be swallowed down. Kendra's mother, Mary, answered the door, and when she saw Kendra standing there like a lost sheep, she opened her arms wide, pulling her daughter in for a big hug. You don't know how much I prayed for this day. The Lord heard my prayers. Mary wept while holding Kendra tight. Kendra fell into her mother's embrace and did not want to let go. Mary pulled back and cradled Kendra's cheeks. Come. Once inside the house, Kendra relished the familiar smells of home. Henry, Henry, where are you? Mary called out to Kendra's father, who shortly after came around the corner. What's going on? Who's at the door? When he saw Kendra standing there with her mother, a single tear streamed down his cheek. Mom, Dad, Kendra cleared her throat, temporarily forgetting everything that she wanted to say. I'm sorry. What I did was messed up. I had a lot of growing up to do and realized how selfish I was. All I cared about was myself and trying to get money. I'm sorry for taking you guys for granted, for leaving how I did, and for not calling. You need to know that I also took Grandma Kitty's jewelry when I left. I didn't come to see her before she died or to the funeral because I was ashamed. There was no way I could look her in the eyes knowing what I did. I'm just sorry for everything, and I will understand if you never want to speak to me again. Kendra's body shook as she released her regrets and sorrow. But the most amazing thing happened. Not one, but two sets of arms enveloped her, cocooning her in love. We forgive you, child. We are just glad you are home. Henry squeezed Kendra as hard as he could without hurting her. They stood in the entryway and cried endless tears until Kendra's mother, Mary, pulled out of the embrace and said, We need to celebrate. It's not Sunday, but I'm going to whip us up the biggest brunch y'all have ever seen because my baby is home. Leaving was easy. Coming back to ask for forgiveness was much harder. But facing herself and finding the courage to come home confirmed what Kendra realized, that she had changed. Even though she was still working on forgiving herself, this experience helped her to understand the meaning of family. Despite her mistakes, they received her with open arms and were giving her a second chance. They were showing her that she was still worthy of love and forgiveness. If this story spoke to you, You're not alone. Subscribe for a new uplifting story every week.